I'm Laura Maines, a volunteer member of the Canadian Business History Association. I first became involved in the study of Canadian business history as an MBA student at the Rotman School of Management 20 years ago. As my summer internship, I was a reporter at the Financial Post. I told my editor about a new course I was about to take that fall. It was the first ever Canadian business history course at the graduate level, started by Joe Martin. He invited me to write an article about it, which I did. I really enjoyed meeting Joe, even before I took the course, and learned all about his vision for teaching students the lessons of the past so that we might only make new mistakes in our future business careers. As part of the inaugural cohort of that first Canadian business history course, we had the great fortune of having an incredibly distinguished lineup of guest speakers, which included Red Wilson, Dick Curry, Jim Fleck, Hal Jackman, and Tony Fell, who taught us so much about the achievements of the great business entrepreneurs and leaders of the 20th century and how we might build on their legacy in the 21st. Through the CBHA, we can fund, support, and celebrate the ongoing study of Canada's economic and cultural evolution through a business lens. We celebrate the resourcefulness, ingenuity, perseverance, and sacrifice of those leaders who came before us and whose shoulders we stand upon. I hope you'll enjoy this recap of the CBHA event held in Winnipeg in November of 2024.
We are honored that the CBHA will be announcing and presenting the inaugural Waugh Family FounJoin CBHA Award for Canadian Business History this evening in front of our membership. This is a very exclusive opportunity, and we are so we're grateful that you're doing this evening. Rick Waugh attended Grant Park High School and the Faculty of Commerce at the University of Manitoba, now the Asper School of Business, before joining Scotiabank, where he went on to become the CEO. Rick has a deep interest in business history, and this year his family foundation committed the income from a gift of $250,000 to fund the inaugural Waugh Family FounJoin CBHA ACHA prize. To present the award, I'm going to be calling upon the founding and current president of CBHA, Joe Martin. I know that Bram has already given you a bit of his bio, but I thought many people, not everyone was present, so I'm just going to do a little bit of it again. I mean, we could be here forever to listen to his bio, but we're going to give a little synopsis. But Joe was born and raised in Winnipeg. Joe attended Gordon Bell High School and graduated with an honors histories degree at the University of Manitoba. Joe was the Honorable Duff Rotman's first and only EA in 1961 and served in this role for 5 years. He then had an illustrious 29-year career as a partner with what is now known as Deloitte Consulting. Joe took early in retirement in 1995 and joined the faculty of Rotman School of Management, U of T, as an adjunct professor of strategy and executive in residence. While at Rotman, based on the unpleasant experience of the dot-com bust, Joe convinced the dean to let him design, develop, and deliver the first Canadian business history course at a Canadian business school. The Harvard Business School has had a business history program since 1928. So thank you, Joe, for doing that. While at Rotman, he wrote 2 books, which are on sale in the foyer, and supervised or authored over 20 business history case studies. Mr. Martin, will you please join me on stage to present the inaugural Waugh Family FounJoin CBHA ACHA prize?
I don't know how many of you remember the dot-com boom bust. But it was quite an exciting time. I happened to be chairman of the board of Angos, a new generation of software solutions, and our main business was data mining. And in the last 3 months of the last century, I mean, my net worth exploded. It was very exciting. But then it went the other way. And I thought, you know, I'd done a degree in history, and I thought, surely to God I should have seen this coming. And I said, we got to do something about this. So I was down in Naples, Florida, and there's a guy some of you may have heard of by the name of Jim Fleck, who's one of the most extraordinary people I've ever met. And I said, I got this huge problem, Jim. we need business history at the Rotman School. And he said, well, what's the problem? Well, how am I going to get it? He said, why don't you go and speak to the dean? Dean's last name was Martin, but is no relative. And I walked in, and the dean said, that's great, Joe. All you have to do is raise $3 million, and we'll have it. Easiest $3 million I've ever raised in my life. So that's the background. And then we've got this unusual joining of events here. We started planning for the announcement a year ago because this was the first of the Waugh Awards, and we were going to have a big do in Toronto. Then we found out that the winner had made his reputation at McGill, and gradually said, well, maybe we better go to Montreal, which I find a little tricky because of the bilingual situation. And speaking to the winner, I learned that he'd moved to France. He married a French woman and moved to France. So our chairman, Dimitri Anastaskis by name, said, Joe, you're having that big event in Winnipeg. Rick Waugh has got really good connections with Winnipeg. Why don't we announce the inaugural winner there? So that's what we're doing tonight. The award, and it's really terrific of Rick, and he's, as all of you know, he's a very generous guy. We're going to have 3 themes. It's not going to be the same thing each year. This, the inaugural year, will be a Career Achievement Prize. But next year, we're going to have the Best Book Prize in Canadian Business History. And then the following year, the Best Public Engagement Prize, because now, I'm sure you've all noticed, you get all kinds of other forms rather than just books. So the citation is to Brian Young. Brian Young has made significant contributions to Quebec and Canadian business history through the multifaceted research on topics ranging from railways to religious research, to religious institutions, to elite society, showing how economic, social, religious, and business interests are often intertwined. His work explores the intersections of religion, property, and economic relations, demonstrating how major institutions in Quebec and Canada have influenced capitalist relations. Young's research on Canadian elites, for example, encompasses their business practices and reveals how much practices have shaped the past. As well, Young's exploration of legal structures offers foundational insights into the frameworks that govern business transactions and property rights. Young is the author of 4 monographs on the subject of business history, including Promoters and Politicians, including the North Shore Railway and the History of Quebec, Georges-Étienne Cartier, Montreal Bourgeois, in its corporate capacity, the Seminary of Montreal as a business institution, and the Politics of Codification, the Lower Canadian Civil Code of 1866. His most recent book, Patrician Families and the Making of Quebec, the Taschereaus and the McCords, was awarded the best scholarly book in the humanities by the Canadian Federation of the Humanities and Social Sciences, and the Prix Inaugural by the Institut d'Histoire de l'Amérique Française. His awards include a Kellum Research Fellowship, the Prix Gérard Périsseau, and in 2010, he received the Governor-General's International Award for Canadian Studies. As a professor at McGill University from 1975 to 2009, He taught and inspired generations of students. Overall, Brian's research efforts offers important and challenging perspectives in Quebec and Canadian economic and business history. His path-breaking work reveals how business and economic interests have shaped Canadian culture and society, and as a pathbreaker in the academic sphere, he has helped bring business history to many other historians. In 1976, he helped found the Montreal Business History Group. Brian wrote me last week, and here is what he says. Dear Joe, I'm in Kane, Joe, a city liberated by Canadians, and there are many moving references in the streets around here to men of the Fort Garry Horse and the Winnipeg Rifles. Best to you, Brian. Here's what he wrote to you. Dear friends in Winnipeg, I'm very honored to be the first recipient of the Waugh Family FounJoin Award in Business History, and would like to give special thanks to Joe Martin, Dimitri Anastakis, our chair, the Canadian Business History Association, and especially Waugh. I would have liked to be with you tonight. Winnipeg born, I was raised in a Norwood culture of Methodism, curling, Yorkshire pudding, and a strong belief in education that my parents took with them to Toronto, where I grew up. I am particularly pleased that the committee awarded me the Business History Award in view of my eclectic approach to business history. My PhD was on railways in Quebec, and my first collective research project as a young professor at McGill was participation in an archival survey of the business records of Montreal businesses. I went on to study a Catholic religious community as a business institution, and then to the businesses of running the McCord Museum of Canadian History and Montreal's Mount Royal Cemetery. I've since migrated to the study of Quebec civil law, particularly contract. I appreciate then the Prize Committee's umbrella approach to business history, one that allows incorporation of unidentified standings from social, legal, and cultural history. Thank you again. So that is the award, and thank you to all for being here. Please enjoy your meal and the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joe Martin. I'm the president of Canada's Business History Association. We just had a very successful dinner in Winnipeg at the Fort Garry Hotel with two other Manitoba organizations, the Business Council of Manitoba and the Asper Associates of the University of Manitoba. It was a great evening, excellent discussion, and on this occasion, I was able to announce the winner of the inaugural Waugh Award, and the inaugural award will be for lifetime achievement. The winner is Brian Young, born in Winnipeg, but spent most of his career at McGill University, now living in France. Brian achieved many things in his career, but one of the things I'd like to mention now is that he was on the board of directors of the Winnipeg-based Canada's National History Society. I am the president emeritus of that organization. With me is Janet Walker, who was the CEO, and she will say a few words about Brian and his contribution.
Well, Brian, congratulations on the occasion of being awarded the inaugural Waugh Family FounJoin Career Achievement Prize, presented by the Canadian Business History Association. It's a pleasure to recognize and celebrate you as a valued colleague and former member of the Board of Directors of Canada's National History Society. And thank you, you've made a difference to the future of Canada's history. All of us connected to the Society, past and present, could not be more proud of you for being awarded this exceptional prize. We are in Winnipeg at the Fort Garry Hotel a stone's throw away from your Norwood family home, where you began a lifetime of achievement. Here, the news of your receiving the Waugh Family Prize is being appreciated by some of Winnipeg's most respected business and international leaders. You are a hometown history hero, and Canada's proud of you. I'd like to raise a glass to you, Brian, for this most fitting first, and to you, Rick Waugh, and the Waugh family for introducing this most marvelous prize. I hope you all know that the Waugh family is spoken of often and fondly here in Winnipeg. And if I may, I'd like to acknowledge Joe Martin, the ever-ready catalyst behind so many Canadian history initiatives. We toast to you all and count you among Canada's finest. Cheers, be well, santé.